Alright, we are recording, and it is so weird. Hang on. There we go. Oh, I just realized I didn't... Ow. That's... We can actually let the in-game music run because it's the last work site. It's kind of wild thing. I'm not even sure how many years I've been in this game. That's... There. Come on. There. So... Timer going. Yeah, I don't remember. I'll have to look to see how long have I been playing this game. But we're finally into the final part of it. Where is the incinerator? Yeah, so this is the Splatter station. It's also Viscera cleaning detail. Here we go. Okay. Had a little bit of concern there. I forgot the mop is one. I thought I was thinking my keyboard just did something weird, and it's still like that. It probably a little busted. Oh, don't get me wrong. I love my keyboard. I don't want to change it. But it is annoying that the underglow RGB LEDs are no longer working, because those would tell me what layer I'm on. Yeah. Now, fortunately, when I'm not too concerned because like the only layer that can be toggled on, well, no, that's not entirely true, but I mean it's the one layer that I would most likely exit. Well, it's not a good situation no matter how I try to put it. Yeah, I can toggle on two different layers. One of them I more often do by accident. I really should just disable the layer. And I can now, but yeah, flashing the firmware didn't fix it. I really just don't know. I don't even know what happened. It was like I'm using the keyboard and suddenly the LEDs stopped working. It's like nothing weird. I remember my sister went to touch the keyboard and fried the PCB, well, the LEDs on the PCB with, I think there was a static shock then, but no, there was nothing. I was literally typing. I bumped some keys, so it's like, did I accidentally like turn it off somehow? Even though what I was doing with the lighting layer stuff isn't something to toggle off actually. Very weird. Yeah. But amusingly, I have been thinking about getting a another kit that would be rather different from this one, but is one that has the potential of replacing, say, ortholinear 50%, which I'm sorry, I tend to think of them more as ortholinear 60%, since they have like the same amount of heat. So it just seemed more similar to that. Not sure if I actually will get it, because I was already thinking if I'm gonna do it, then I want to like get it in a get it so I can do certain things with it. Alright, I'm gonna... Alright. Yeah, so I'm now leaning more towards getting it, but I was thinking that only if I was comfortable, because it would be a kit you have to completely solder this other keyboard. And there are ways to solder in hot swap socket, even on a PC that's not meant for hot swap sockets. So I was since that's an area. Oh, well, nah, actually, yeah, I forgot to start any music, and it's like, you know what, it can just stay off. So sorry, you're just gonna hear me and the sound of the game. Well, that also reminds me, I have been making some tweaks to... How can I tweak that? There it is. To the processing scripts, really just for audio, and even then all I've done is change the codec. Instead of working with AAC, I'm now gonna work more with Opus. And the funny thing is, even though it, for FFmpeg, is a much more efficient codec, meaning it is at lower bit rates it'll have higher quality than AAC at the same bit rate. It also encodes a lot faster. So it's actually like an additional benefit to doing that. But yeah, for other things that had processing, like similar processing methods, it went from, what was it? Yeah, it was 6 times speed to 12 to 14 times. That's significant. I also just, before starting this, I did work some on just some general redoing of the scripts. So like I've changed up the pre-processing stuff. Mainly it's moving some logic around. Although some of it is also like, yeah, it's redundant, but it's still kind of nice to do. Basically making the batch scripts more capable, so the Python script don't have to be as capable, because I don't like working in Python. But there will be some other things I'll probably also try to. There's a lot of trash. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is grab some of the buckets and just try to come over here and focus on cleaning up. So, you know, work out from the furnace. Which is how I know. Yeah, wow, it is weird how long. Well, this is finally coming to me. Yeah, I'll do 2, I'm not doing. There. Yeah, so after this, I will use Left 4 Dead 2. Although I'll start with the Left 4 Dead 1 levels I will create it into it. For whenever I need to fill it. Yeah, what was it? Little Nightmares 2. That's the one that I'm filling. Filling out the week. I'm gonna... yeah, I think I'll be good with just these buckets. I might. You know, one advantage today is, despite it being the middle of March, is a fairly cold day, so it's actually kind of nice. I'm going to be warming up my room, both with the recording right now and when I have the other system processing. I think I was gonna say I think I dropped it. You know, one thing that's kind of funny about finishing this game off is I have been thinking about, because it doesn't perform that well for me, so I've been thinking about, wouldn't it be nice to see how this would perform on some modern GPUs? The RX 580 is still a good GPU, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's like I'm only in the 40s at the moment. And this is not that complex a game. It's just that poorly optimized. To be fair, it's not Unreal Engine 3. And I would not be surprised if they had to get the engine to do things it doesn't normally want to do. Kind of a thing with Unreal. But at least, hopefully, they... I haven't looked recently, but I do remember last time I looked, they were saying, yes, we do want to do more with this. It's, you know, just other things we have to get done first, including some technical. Yeah, fingers crossed that... I don't know if they would go to Unreal Engine 4 or 5. I think they were saying, yeah, we'll stick with Unreal Engine, which makes sense. Although, it is also true that Unreal Engine 4 is radically different from 3, such that just because it's 3, that doesn't mean 4 is going to be that great. Well, not that easy. No, I shouldn't say that. No, I keep wanting to, like, turn. That's not. But yeah, I don't think you need... Well, I guess I could see Lumen being useful in some way, but this is not a game or genre even that would call for the technical capability of Unreal Engine 5. It would really just be a because we can, because it's the newest thing kind of situation. Which isn't necessarily a bad reason to do some stuff, but it's also not necessarily a good reason. I see that. This... Those were clean, so... That's bad, but it could have been... That is down. Oh, seriously? I don't know if I've ever actually done that before, where I was throwing through... we actually threw things all the way through the furnace. Both doors were open. But yeah, I mean, let me see. Last video I did was actually technically last year. This is 2023. The last video I recorded was 2022. And there were some things, like, I've managed to do a few neat things since then. I'm still kind of working through some of them too. Like I was talking about the Opus stuff. Yeah, I honestly, that was more just a, you know, in theory the files will be smaller, so that would be better for the stuff I upload. But then it's like, wait, why is this going faster? So now it's like, yeah, I want to use that everywhere. Plus, I'm using more correct file. I can explain that in a little bit. But just generally, I've been learning some new tricks for scripts I do. So, gonna be trying to apply updates to many of them. What it was. I also forgot what was it that I said and that I would explain. Oh yeah, the file names. So for the audio processing, I have it make two files. One is just an audio file that contains the game audio, the mic audio separately, and a mix that is actually stored in there as FLAC. The other two initially were being processed to AAC, now they'll be processed to Opus. But both of the outputs were just named audio. It's just one was like audio.mka, that's one that holds multiple audio streams. And then one that was .m4a, which is just the AAC of the mix. Well, it occurred to me, I should really have those be separate names. It's like, oh, yeah, name it mix. So now it's mix.ogs because it's holding the Opus string. And that change should actually be fairly simple. Like, I'm not so concerned there. But yeah, man, getting some of the other stuff working the way I wanted to, that took longer than I thought. But it's... I've learned tricks for custom scripts in FFmpeg, sorry, custom functions in batch files. Custom scripts in FFmpeg. I've known how to do that for a while. Come on, brain. I know. But yeah, with the custom functions, you can do some really neat things. You know, really make the batch files pretty intelligent and handle things that previously I had to go to Python. And I don't like Python. I think I already said that, but I can keep saying it. No. There we go. Yeah, so like something I set up, which is totally unnecessary, but it's like, I should be able to do this. I want to do it. Was the remuxing file, the remuxing script, instead of it relying on Python, tell it, hey, this is the game, this is the heart rate overlay, this is the, gaze tracker overlay. There we go. Because they are regularly named with like game, SPO2, and Toby, because it's a Toby gaze tracker. I set it up to do that. The only thing is that I had to do it in a for loop, and batch file for loops are weak. Especially when you're giving it things that have strings in them. I mean, I figured it. I figured out a little trick that does kind of get it to work a little bit more easily, but it still was like a lot harder than it should. And it does also detect that, oh, this one is missing, so compile, well, run the script. Run this function, this one, all three are there, so do this. But this will be the first, like, live test. I've also, you know, everything else has been, like, I just took some files that'll work, but I didn't actually record for that purpose. Though it's close enough. I basically record everything the same way. It's just what I do with it later that differs. I want to grab more of those. Let's clean this up though, so I can get over to this. And also, let me think. This video will be out far enough, right? I mean, yeah. Wow, I didn't realize I was getting that close to when I need. It's only a couple weeks away. I've had a busy March, because I've had 3 different game reviews, like, and it was literally, hey, here's a key, cool, I'll start working on that next week while I'm still working on the one review, hey, here's another game key, and then rinse and repeat the next week. Don't get me wrong, I like doing game reviews. What did that even get caught on? You're kidding me, I don't know. I do not know. Yeah, you're not so good. Small goal. I'm not gonna put that in. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, the ground looks smoother, but anyway, it is interesting because it's like 2 of the games that I had to review were definitely I was expecting better. But one of them, I mean, it's like, I don't think I've written such a critical piece on the on a game's story for a long time, because they just had so many issues. Oh, wrong one. Okay. I mean, it's like I point out in it that it's like I counted at least 3 Deus Ex Machinas. It's absurd. And just other things where it's like, this is not how a human would react in this situation. And the thing, whenever I have a review where I'm negative about something, where it's like, this is just bad kind of stuff, it makes me very self-conscious. Well, not very, but it does make me self-conscious. Like, are there going to be other reviewers that share the same feeling kind of thing? Like, or am I the outlier? But it's, even if that is the case, it's like, I share the review playthroughs. Everyone's able to watch and see what I see, hear what I hear, and also hear my comment. So there is nothing that, it's like I am ultimately transparent there, so it's like, if you don't like what I'm saying, then it's a matter of you don't like what I'm saying. You can't say I'm lying, because it's like, no, you're seeing what I'm doing. You're seeing what I'm going through as well. I mean, it's like, I also clearly remember in that game, because I even predicted, this is going to happen now. It shouldn't happen now, but it's a video game, so they're going to do it this way. It's like, it shouldn't happen now. And the moment I just started laughing. Because it's like, oh my god, I called it, and I should not have called it. I didn't want it to be the case. I genuinely did not want them to do the thing they did. But it's like, they were making a video game, they weren't telling a story, clearly. Because if they were telling a story, they would have realized that, oh yeah, this doesn't make any sense. Something else that I've been working, other script stuff, not batch scripts though, I had seen something a while ago, and this actually I might have mentioned in a previous report. That for large rectangular data arrays, basically spreadsheets, the way you store them can have an impact. Oh, that's like on performance, like the actual data form. And the data frame in R, while it works, is not very good performance. And seen something talking about data table, the data table format that you can get via a package. And I was looking at that, it's like, oh my god, this is so much faster. I mean, a lot faster. It made even my laptop, that is, by today's standards, woefully powered. I still like it. It does what I need to do. It made processing what would amount to about 120 meg of data, CSV data, like processing that in nearly instantaneously kind of speeds. I mean, it was absurdly fast. But I discovered something, because it occurred to me, you know, I might not actually be using it properly. And I look, yeah, I'm not. So the data table is weird how it has certain requirements for how you interact with it, how you tell it to do things. But there is another package that can work with it, and makes it a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. And considering the weird and wild stuff I do, it's kind of necessary. And by weird and wild, I mean I make stuff interactive. I make it possible to just do various things that clearly no developers ever thought anyone would do. Because I have to find so many ways to break the thing to get it to work right. Anyway. Turns out that other package that I was using to process the data was changing that data table into a different data type. That is still very fast. Not as fast as a data table technically, but fast. Yeah. So it's like, well, I still got the speed gains, which is what I wanted, but it's a little annoying that it's like, oh, that's how I I screwed up initially. Water. But, yeah, so in the video game performance data processing script, which is the only one that actually needs that, I've already implemented it. But I do want to go in and do some redesign to the reactive stuff, which I've gotten a lot better at. I in fact, and this actually would have been prior to the last recording in Viscera Clean Detail, because it came out in November. The last one I recorded was in December. I actually wrote put together a guide on how to do the R-Shiny modularizing, because the instructions that they have, the guides and documentation, the official ones, are garbage. The simplest way I can think to put it is, it's a guide written with a specific purpose in mind, and it shows the specific purpose, and it does not explain why it's doing what it's doing. It also doesn't cover like some complex use cases. Which, when I found, it's like, oh, this actually simplifies some. I mean, yes, it looks a little weirder, but it really is an improvement. And that guide, actually, some people read it and said it was good. Kind of weird. I'm not used to anyone reading anything I do, let alone saying that what I did was good. Yeah. But I want to apply... I already did apply that... Yeah, I did. To the thermal data processing script. The data processing script for this heart rate data is... It is too simple. It would not benefit from anything. But I do still want to and need to go through and do it to the game processing script, which... The funny thing is, it actually isn't going to help as much as, because there is so little that's repeated. But I can still do a better job with how the reactives are created and called. But it still is. It is such a complex mess. Because it has to be. Just too many different graph types, I think is a way to put it. And also way too many stats I'm trying to do in there. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, there is no better tool. At least none that I'm aware of. That comes even close to what my thing does. The closest, and I've not looked too closely at it, because I do know that I do have things that surpass it, is a tool called CapFrame X. But it's like, I've looked at that some, and it's like, yeah, I've been doing this stuff longer than longer than the software has existed. And like, legitimately, some of that stuff I know predates the software. So like, it has something. And I am thinking I will rename some things to be a bit more accurate, but once I change it, it will be just the Q-plot or quantile plot. Which that has now soiled, which is actually... I don't think I actually stepped on that. I don't think my non-existent leg touched that. Anyway, now I lost my train of thought because of that. Thanks a lot, non-existent legs. Yeah, it's just like gone. I know I was talking about... Oh, yeah, the Q-plot, the quantile plot. They do... I have seen some screenshots for CapFrame X. They have something like that, where it shows... It's a bar graph that is showing for, like, the 99th percentile, 95th percentile, 90th percentile, things like that. It's like, yeah, that's basically what the Q-plot is. You're just not showing all of it. Or you're showing it correctly, because you really shouldn't appreciate... Well... There are worse ways to show that information than a bar graph, but there's also better. I just want to... And I am aware of the bullet holes. I just want to kill them later. Oh. That. It's like it's permanently stable. But it's still things like the consecutive difference plot, which technically I actually did see something that is a... I thought I came up with it because I'd never seen a plot that was comparable to it. Technically, no, it does exist. It's called a lag plot. Although technically I have things a little inverted from a standard lag plot. Like just which axis shows what. Oh, there. Which axis shows what is different. But I think I'll keep it as a consecutive difference plot in the name because it's what it is. I mean, it is descriptive there. I mean, a statistician understands, or somebody that works with lag plots would understand, oh yeah, that's a lag plot. But I can't be concerned with what that small group. I need to think about, okay, what's the average person gonna think? It's like consecutive difference. Oh, it's the difference between consecutive values. Yeah. But it does technically mean then that I can't just use my language for describing things like blob, wings. But it's like, I don't care. I'm going to keep using them because it's what they look like. It's descriptive. And who knows? It might also... maybe it is something if I were to talk to a statistician, it might be like, yeah, no, even if those aren't the right names, the fact that you use it in this very specific way and always use it that way, yeah, use whatever term. The amount of stuff in stats that is just straight up decided by the statistician is weird. Like, you see the 1% low kind of stuff in video game performance data, right? Why is it 1% low? Because that's what the person making the graphs, making the stats, wanted it to be. There is no actual justifiable reason for it to be that. It's just what they decided, and that's exactly how stats. I mean, it's like, yeah, we're using the 3% low here. Why are you using 3% low? Because that's what we chose to. I mean, it's... Now, obviously, you start going to something more extreme, like 10%. Okay, that's a significant amount of the data. Why are you looking at that point? Like, was your data that noisy that you need to do that to clean it up? But it is... where was it? I think it may have been Hard OCP that used 3% lows? Well, 97% highs. Well, no, how did they actually... I don't remember how they... if they were working frame time or frame rate, but it's... the 3% low frame rate is the 97% high frame time. Yeah. It's kind of as simple as that. Man, I hope I get 3 parts out of this one. You know what? Because I might not, I'm actually going to stop now. Like, stop this recording now. And start the next one. Just to be certain. But, yeah, no, that is a real thing with stats. Is so much of it is yeah, that's what we decided to do. It's a little hand wavy, but it's like, it's not invalid to do that, because it's like, you can always change it and grab a different stat if you want. It's not like, you know, you use the 3% low. It's not like somebody else can't be like, well, I prefer the 2% low. All right, use it. Take the data and use it. It doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all statistic, even though I think some people do try to treat them that way. All right. See you next time when I'll probably have something else to talk. See you then.